Hi, I am Dr. A. Sadasivam, and today we will be discussing about some aspects of personal selling. Do remember to watch a video which is a case study about Cisco, which will reinforce some of the learnings in this video. So today we will broadly be talking about personal selling, where the salesperson is directly in touch with the customer. Personal selling is defined as that method of selling in which the influence is exerted directly by the salesperson face to face when he is sitting in front of the customer. There are multiple stages identified in the personal selling process, and this broadly depends on the product that is being sold, and it differs from product to product, markets to markets. But in general, it consists of the following steps, starting with prospecting, and then pre-approach, approaching the prospects, that's the real time of selling, making the sales presentation, dealing with consumer objections, closing the sale, and then follow up on the sale. Like I mentioned to you, that this process changes from product to product. Broadly, the framework remains the same. So we will talk a little bit about each one of the stages involved in the selling process. Now, first is the prospecting. Prospecting is the lifeblood of sales because this identifies the potential customers and keeps the business running. There are two major reasons for prospecting. One is, of course, to increase the sales, and the second is to retain the existing customers. During the prospecting stage, the sales people, what they do is they move the prospects from a sales lead to a sales prospect. And in doing so, the lead must be qualified in terms of their needs, their wants, their ability to buy, and the eligibility to buy. And there are some major prospecting methods used by various companies. This again depends on product to product, market to market. Every sales manager needs to know if each of these methods are being used in his sales organization or not. But one thing must be remembered, not all these methods can be useful for all kinds of products. We have to selectively use the right approach, but it should be multi-pronged. The sales manager may have to use one or many of these methods. The first is centers of influence. Salespeople should look for opportunities to be in touch with influential customers who may either become customers in the long run or who can assist the sales personnel in meeting potential customers and offer them sales leads. And the second method is through squatters. They generally are people who will put efforts to seek out leads for you. Some of them are even paid in cash or kind many a times in some markets. It's more of a relationship marketing, and it depends largely on the skills of the salesperson in terms of how much he keeps in touch with his customers, and through them he sells the product. So the best spatters are the current customers who provide referrals from his community to potential prospects. Anyone who deals with public can be a squatter because they exercise considerable influence on their buying decisions. Thirdly, we are going to talk about something called as an endless chain. The current customers, especially the new buyers who have a vested interest in promoting your product, they need to be identified from a sales angle. You might wonder who those customers are. Who are those buyers who may have a vested interest in your product? This needs a very, very detailed explanation, and in the subsequent videos, these will be taken up here and there. This method can create endless chain for selling your product. Many companies have found this technique extremely effective. Now coming to observation. Generally, it's said salespeople need to keep their eyes and ears open all the time. Many people are under the impression that, for example, in a car showroom, the customer sits and a customer walks in. But many a times it doesn't happen. It should be more of a seller initiated sale where the customer doesn't come to your office. For example, in insurance companies, the customers will not visit your office and ask for an insurance policy. You need to move out. You need to keep your eyes and ears open. And you have to explore in terms of who needs an insurance policy. I can also give you an example of a person who is selling lifts. He cannot expect a customer to come to his office and say, I need 2 lifts. Can you tell me what is the price of it? This generally does not happen, but lifts are getting sold. It is exactly here the seller initiated approach works. The salesman needs to be highly professional, that even when he's going from the office back to his home, and if he finds a big building being constructed, efficient salespeople park their car, visit the site, casually speak to some people there, maybe a security guard, maybe a head mason, or maybe a contractor. He will speak to them. If need be, he might offer a cigarette to them, probably. It's just a casual talk, and then he'll try to find out who are the opinion makers. Generally, in those kinds of buildings, the opinion makers will be the architect, maybe the contractor, or maybe somebody who comes there for inspection. He observes a lot of things, and based on which he is planting seeds for a potential sale in future. These are things that the sales manager is not going to tell him. Please visit that place. These are initiatives professional salespeople take. Quickly, let me tell you, it's a very long topic, and it tempts me to share a lot of things even in this introductory video. Because everybody starts his life as a salesman, because it's in the race of life, everybody starts as a salesman, but you will find only few of those guys reach to the top, that is a general manager sales or a director sales. But if you track back their history, the last 20 years, 25 years, what did these guys do which others did not? These are the small details that had catapulted them to success. This is very, very clear. Then comes observation. Organized observation, like in leading newspapers, for example, they can provide salespeople with many leads. Any change in people's needs and wants can trigger new demands for customers. The salespeople are always on the watch out. The next important thing is leveraging the advertising and marketing activities by the company. Enormous amount of money is being invested in sales promotions and advertisements. We all know that. But we always hear salespeople saying that most of the leads were, they were either fake leads, not effective leads, they are not effective leads, etc., etc. Now the question is, the responsibility of salesperson, does it end there? Therefore, it is necessary for us, for sales managers, to monitor if the salespeople are following up those inquiries in a professional manner. Now let's take a small example and then do a little bit of a financial calculation. The total money that is being spent on advertisements divided by the number of leads, it provides an answer as to how much of money is being spent on one inquiry. It is necessary to see that if you are whether you are getting adequate returns of investment on the advertisements made, and if not, is the sales leadership taking this issue seriously and sensitizing the sales force on this particular aspect. Next comes the process, which is the pre-approach process. This is the second most important process in a sales cycle. After qualifying a prospect as a potential customer, the sales representatives must plan the best strategy to prepare themselves before even meeting the customer face to face. It is necessary that details about the buyer's position in the organization, his title in the company, what does he do in the company, to some extent his educational background, his technical knowledge, authority, etc., etc. Everything is important. Now the question is, when I say obtained, how do you obtain? Will you ask him? Many people take it offensive if you ask direct questions. Therefore, certain things have to be asked politely, certain things have to be inferred, certain things you have to infer from various other sources, maybe employees within the company, maybe through your friends who work in that company. Now, good salespeople, they take time to learn as much about the prospects. Some of their backgrounds, their hobbies, interests, lifestyles, etc., because this information is crucial in making the final sale and influencing the customer. While approaching the prospect, the salesperson needs to understand that the total buying situation, this includes the relative competitive position of your company in the industry vis-a-vis others, your goals and objectives, your major customer problems, and then opportunities. Also, a preliminary call to the prospect also need to be made in terms of obtaining a first-hand pre-approach information. Now we will look at some of the other methods. One is introductory approach. The second is the reference approach. Third is customer benefit approach, complement approach. Fifth is the free gift approach. Sixth is the questioning approach. Seventh is the ingredient approach. Eighth is a dramatic approach. And last but not the least, this is very, very important. This is personal rapport approach, because they are going to buy because of you. All these will be explained in detail in the subsequent videos, or if you come for a full-fledged training program, each of these are being discussed, each of these approached in terms of its pros and cons, and they will be customized in terms of the market and the industry the participant is coming from. Now comes the important aspect of making the sales presentation. In order to make a very effective sales presentation, it is important to understand the concept of lot of things, many concepts. So we will be discussing some of those concepts here. One is the stimulus response concept. The second is the formula and the IDA concept. The third is the problem solution concept. The fourth is the need satisfaction concept. Fifth is the team selling concept. And sixth is in-depth selling concept. So these are some of the concepts that can be used while making the sales presentation. In the training workshop, we will look at each of these concepts, study where the participant is coming from, and we are not going to give any ready-made solutions to them. The concept will be explained. The trainer will take strains that every participant understands the concept, and participants will make their own strategy. They will use the learnings and they will make their own strategy, and they will present in terms of what is the approach that he will take, because he knows that much better. This approach ensures that people learn from collective experience. The next most important thing is objection handling phase. This is extremely important. You might think, why should there be a customer objection in the first place? Let me share with you, and many of us are aware that you don't have a product in the world which is head and shoulders above all the products in all the features. Every product will have an objection because every product has its pros and cons. Therefore, the salespeople need to be adept in handling those objections in a positive manner. There is a perception in the market, and this perception is there in all consultants. Invariably, I have seen hundreds and thousands of them. Whenever a customer poses an objection, they presume that the customer is not positive about the product, and they conclude that it is not a hot inquiry. But actually speaking, many experts in marketing have come out with a conclusion that whenever there is an objection from the customer, it is one step moving towards the sale, and it needs to be taken up very positively. And if the objections are handled in a professional manner, then the probability of making that sale goes up many times. We don't have exact statistics, but the probability is a lot higher. Now we are coming to the most important thing, which is closing the sale. If the sales closing is not done properly, everything you did in the earlier phases goes futile. It will be of no use. The amount of time and energy spent on those will go completely waste. We all know that there are lots and lots of closing techniques. In fact, one of the books I saw, there were more than 60 closes. Two choice close, trial clause, because every author comes up with his own close. Puppy dog close is something that I've learned. All those closes are very relevant. But keeping constraints of time in mind, we will select around 9 or 10. I will select them based on what works in India. We will take that. So what we will do is we will select maybe 10 or 11, maybe 12, understand those clauses completely, and then we will customize them. In fact, we will make the participants customize them based on their market and situations. They will understand them, they will make their own closing questions, they will be brainstorming, there will be role plays, and they will be using their own questions. This way, participants learn a lot better, and they find these theories practically relevant, because that's our methodology of doing these workshops. We have numerous techniques, numerous concepts, etc., etc. Not all are applicable to all kinds of industries, but definitely the broad framework can be used in most of the companies. So skill is required in terms of identifying which of these concepts and techniques can be practically implemented. Think through those strategies in much greater detail, and then coming out with probable solutions, quick actionable points in terms of what they will do immediately when they get back to work. And this concludes this presentation, but comes with an acknowledgement. I would like to acknowledge two most important people whose tips I have taken in making this speech. One is William Reynolds Jr. and the second is P. Jerome McCarthy. This is book on marketing published by Tata McGraw-Hill Publications. Very, very useful tips. And in the subsequent video, I will be coming up with a case study on Cisco, which is again taken from the same authors. And I request you to look at personal selling and this case study of Cisco side by side, because this case study will focus on how important personal selling is. Especially all of us know in this age of digital selling, there are so many kinds of selling techniques people use. Social marketing, social media, you have viral marketing, you have teasers, direct mailers, sales promotion campaigns, etc., etc. But this particular video is exclusively for personal selling, where the salesperson meets the customer face to face. Thank you very much, and we are all very eager to meet you in our next video. Thank you very much. Jai Hind. Uhambe nami zungangishilana Jerusalema ikayalami.